Hey, yo, what's up? Hello and good morning, everybody. Hope you're having a great day. PC Monk here with another Bitcoin video. In this video, we want to talk about the disclaimer that the content of this channel is for educational purpose only. Now, let's talk about the weekly overview. Over the week, we could see here, guys, what we thought, or what I thought, you guys, what I thought is this is the top, but it was not the top right here. This could have been a great top. What happened is we came all the way back up. I mean, not back up. We came up and cleaned the liquidity at this high of this candle. Um, so now at the Sunday, I mean, the weekly looks topped out to me. All right, weekly looks topped out to me, especially with these candles. So the next week, we could what we do is a couple of things. First, we could hold here. We could literally hold where we are. Okay, so there's three scenarios. Okay, first, hold where we are. Over the next week, when you go, you know, over the next week, come and retest this. Maybe grab a little bit higher liquidity. You know, right around here, 38,800 or something. Come back down and hold the low, and that's the whole week. Okay, and then the next week again, do the same, but then this time comes lower and retest this week. And look where this is. This is at 31,873 to be exact. So that's one possibility. The second possibility is just this week, today we're gonna do a double top, all right, on the lower time frame. Let me bring daily. We're gonna do a double top, and then we're gonna come back right around 35k, 35k, 34k. You might want to see. You might want to say, why would you come to 34k? Because we do have a gap. We do have a gap here, right here. This one is filled, I think, yeah, but this one is not. So maybe when the futures open, we come in here, we test it when the CME futures open, right? And before that, we just gonna grab the liquidity above us, which is around 38,400. So that's one possibility. That's the second possibility, and the third possibility is we just come down from here. That's simple, right? Now let's talk about this chart. I've been recording, guys, for 40 minutes, and to my recordings, one of them suddenly TradingView decides to reload itself, and literally my 20 minutes recording is gone. Anyway, this is the third one. So right here we do have a sell side liquidity. I've talked about these before. We usually crawl into this, or we wick and grab the liquidity, meaning we do a double top and then come back down. All right, right now Bitcoin over the 4 hour, I could show you maybe even the 1 hour. I think it's gonna come and retest this area. I think before I even upload the video, that's gonna happen. So the navy blue line, which is 37,663 maybe, and then it pushes it back higher if it wants to. Now keep in mind, when we push it back higher, there's first this area. This is a resistance, but the important resistance for me is this one, 926. If we grab this resistance, boys, if we do that, there's probably a good chance if we hit this, we get denied and completely come back and go for a retracement to the downside. Now, enough of how we're gonna stop to the upside. Now I want to talk about how we go to the downside. Okay, but before that, let me just take a look at the two more charts. Actually, it's not enough. First of all, this chart, you guys should know what it is. This is the rising broadening wedge. It's in play, guys. These two big red lines are in play. You guys could see here and then see here. So now, right now, we're in the middle of it, right? We thought this pink line is going to be a huge rejection. It was not. It was not. So we hit this dotted green line, essentially, which means I wanted to open a position here, which I didn't. Shame on me. I don't know what I was doing. Probably getting chopped in the middle. Anyway, so we could see this 43 getting hit. And why would I say that? Because we got to jump into SPX. SPX got a gap that has to be filled here at its absolute top, a little bit lower than the top. But if it wants to fill this gap, look at this. Right, it only had a retest around here, and this was the whole week. Retest around here pushed it higher, so maybe we go higher over the next week and fill this gap. If that's about to happen, Bitcoin could go to that 43k or even higher. But I would say first 43k, worst case scenario 48k. And when I say worst case scenario for bearish people, And for bullish people, that's going to be the best case scenario. But nonetheless, or Bitcoin could essentially dump it today, heavy dump on a Sunday. That makes sense when the futures open. Heavy dump around here, and then come back. And let me put it on 4 hour. 4 hour makes sense. So dump it around here, right around here, 34,800 or something. Right around this big momentum candle. We do have a sell side liquidity here. I've shown you guys on my other chart. Right here, there's a big sell side liquidity. Let me just grab this all the way. All right, now we do have a small one here, but I think this, gets this going to be taken. All right, so if we fill this sell side liquidity right here, and we could hold it, and the next week when SPX starts to go up again, we could come up with it and retest this area as the last resort. How do I want to mark this area? Like right here makes sense. A little bit even lower, I would say. If you dump from here, the resistance is gonna be right at it, what it is, which is 37,113. So I would say on this chart, okay, maybe dump to 34.8 or 9, then retest when SPX goes bullish into 37.5. I don't even know where that 5 come from, but that makes sense. So somewhere around here. Actually, that 5 is too much. Let's do that to 35. 35 for now, okay? So that makes sense to come in here today. And if that happens, I would say this looks like more like a consolidation for the top, which we call it distribution, right? But we've seen more distribution. All of them turn into accumulation. So let's not, jump on that. But like I said, this is a good possibility to fill either hit 34.8 or hold 35K. All right, both is a possibility. And as we could see here on a 4 hour, we are doing a descending broadening wedge. I opened the short right at the Tico top. When I start streaming, you're probably gonna see it because I fixed the stream. As it was not possible to show my positions. It's a very small position, but I like to be fully transparent. Feel free to join me on my streams, and check my YouTube videos as well. Thank you guys for all the support you do. So yeah, we do have a descending broadening wedge, and these are usually bullish. That means they end up to the upside, but this one could go to the downside. Or as I talked about, we could just grab the liquidity of 37,000, or even make a double bottom right here and then pick it back up. But I think if it wants to go and grab that liquidity to the higher side, and this is for a small time frame play, it will retest this area at the least, okay, and then we see what happened. But the last hope for me is this. So if you take this out, which coincides with this orange line, and as you guys can see, this orange line is a great resistance line, right? So maybe come here and then push it back up to this area, and that's a maybe. It could hold here and push it back up to this area, or a little bit higher, maybe this area, and then push it back down, okay? So we'll see what happened, but nonetheless, if it does this, this is the I would say a higher low, which is still holding. But if it loses this, I don't think we're gonna see any high here, and I think it's gonna continue down. And that scenario where it's gonna come down to 35K and probably retest first retest 37K over the next week will probably be in play. Okay. Now, right in here, we do have, as you guys can see, the golden pocket, which is around 36.2. Essentially, now that we talked about it, essentially where we just said it might stop, right? Right here, 36,000.3.2, give or take. It's the same. So the golden pocket is a very important, line for us right now to see if we hold here for a push to the upside, and this would be the last hope. Obviously, yeah, you could say, oh, even if we come to that 35K, there's hope. I don't think so, but I'm not going to rule that out. Obviously, I mean, there's a possibility we could come to here, which is 33K, and then go all the way back for a liquidity grab. Everything, like, I mean, you can just make hundred of possibilities, but we go with the bunch that we have. So yeah, the golden pocket is important. See if this holds or not. or we just come and fill these volume imbalances. I think this one will be filled a little bit sooner or faster, and then we slice it through into this area. So into this area, we could essentially uh, either enter this buy side liquidity for a for a retest at the upper side or the lower side. But this has been retested a lot. So I would say maybe this is a weak buy side liquidity, and when we hit it, we're just gonna slice through it into this area. And I would think 33,000.6 is a good place to hold for a sweep to the upside when the collapse happen. It really depends how we do collapse. If we are crawling, that's another story. But with that being said, I have my eyes on this one, and I have my eyes on this one. These two white levels on the Fibonacci are essentially some extremes for me that they usually hit, and then they go to the other side. So you hit here, you go up, you hit here, you go down. We'll see if that happens or not. And talked about that rising broadening wedge, which is still in play, and we might just see some immense move to the upside if it wants to do it. But nonetheless, right now, guys, if you take a look at this, it wasn't this; it was the rising wedge that I was talking about. Yeah, if you take a look at this, it's like holding at the middle of this big rising wedge, right? It's consolidating, and it looks like a good move has been done already, right? You usually get two momentum candle, a consolidation, and the last move before it retraces it. And even on this big move, you could see on a weekly, here is a very interesting place to have, which is 31,800. I've mentioned it numerous times. Let's take a look at the liquidity. Um, so to the upside and to the downside, we really don't care about these two. So to the upside, 38k, to the downside, 36k, right? At 36k, we have 288. At 38k, we have 294 million. Now, so at 38k, as you guys could see here, there's a good possible stop because there's nothing above it. There's a small liquidity, but usually these liquidities, they either close or whatever. So to the upside, to 38,000, we say 68, we got 824 million. To the um, low side, sorry, my mind farted. To the low side, we have 36,000. At 36,050, we have 752 million. This is on one day, by the way. Now, if you take a look at this on a 7 day, it's a different story. All right, let me just load the 7 day. Take a look at this. I'm going to remove 25 and 10. So at 38,400, we call it at 38 since we mentioned that 38,060, we have a 500 million. This is only on Binance. But at 36,000, or let's actually call it 35,000 since I called it like, we're going to hold around there. So 35,200, we have a 1.29 billion only on Binance. Okay. Now let's take a look at the three exchanges together at the 38k only. At 38k only, we got 1.38 billion. To the downside at 35, we have a 3 billion. The whole pool to the downside is 6 billion. To the upside is 2.11 billion. Now you tell me which one is more worth it. Now we're about to take a look at the heat map, and this heat map is on 3 days. As we could see, around 37,788, and a little bit above, close to that 38k, we have a little bit of spread here to grab. This big liquidity, which is 137, was grabbed here, way to the left side of the screen, if you guys watching. And we do have a little bit of on the 3 days, we don't really see that much liquidity to the downside on this chart. But this 37,788, if you really want to take a look at that, where's my trading view? 37,788. Let's take a look at it at this chart since it's a little bit, better. 37,788, somewhere around here. That makes sense, right? The high of this candle, the red candle, just grab it here and then push it back down. But all the way, anyway, we are doing this descending broadening wedge, and it's playing out, at least for now. I think, like I said, it's gonna maybe just liquidate these 37,000s, grab the liquidity, or come all the way to that 36, which we talked about. All right, so and this was this, and this is a 1 week on Binance only. If you take a look at the lower liquidity, so there's three clusters here. There's a 418 million worth of cluster, one cluster. There's another 407, and there's a 338. So these three clusters, which is 30,000, 35,019, 34,978, and 34,937, give or take. These three clusters only worth 1.11 billion, and the biggest one was that 418. Now, over the three exchanges, there's one cluster which is 35,060. This one worth 809 million. So when we hit this price, I think, there's no thinking. One cluster on this three exchange is going to liquidate a lot of people, and that's worth 809 million. That's why if, and once again, the funding rate is going, every funding rate is going into a bearish sentiment. So either we gonna get a short liquidation, short yeah short liquidation, that means squeeze the shorts, or this is it, and the shorts are piling up for an immense move to the downside, for a collapse. So that 35,060, if you now come back to the chart, it's going to be somewhere around 35,060. It's going to be somewhere around here, right? Somewhere around this volume imbalance that I mentioned to you guys, right around here, buy side liquidity, volume imbalance. And essentially, it's going to be near the mid at it. So we'll see if this holds. I think if this goes, if we go through this, I think this buy side liquidity will not hold. We might just slice through it and go lower. Talked about everything. Let's take a look at Dixie. I talked about the upside. I've talked about the downside. I'm not going to conclude a 17 minutes video, but feel free to just review it. And so Dixie is right now doing something like this. We've talked about it. Go up, grab the liquidity, come down, and probably go lower. Not today, but when it starts. Is there a possibility of Dixie checking the highs again? Yeah, well, we do have a gap here. Maybe it wants to fill this gap, but we could see that it did a nice, good amount of consolidation at this top. And I've talked about SPX2. And with that being said, thank you guys for watching. Please support me on YouTube, support me on TradingView by boosting, liking, and subscribing on my videos, and sharing my videos with other people if you find it informative and educational. I do a stream on Kick and Twitch. I show my very small penny on the dollar positions, and but I try to be transparent. I don't do any double trading. So with that being said, feel free to come and join me on my streams. I usually start streaming close to New York time, maybe 1 or 2 hours before that, to just grab everything and do a review on the stream as well. Thank you guys for watching again, and hope you have a great day. Peace. And please upload this again. Don't make me do something. Let me just make sure everything is okay here. All right, everything is fine. I'm gonna use this as my thumbnail. And with that being said, goodbye, ladies and gentlemen.